Okay, so welcome to this podcast. It's something I've always wanted to try, but I've never actually done it before. So this is going to be the first episode. I'm going to answer a few questions that I've received on my Instagram. If you'd like to follow me, my Instagram is tm_fitness19. Okay, so I've been asked multiple questions, but I've picked three of the questions that are going to be the most beneficial for everyone watching or listening. But yeah, the first question is, how do I improve my bench press? Now, the bench press is probably, in my opinion, one of the hardest lifts out of the three main lifts, which would be obviously bench, squat, and the deadlift. The first thing is bench pressing more frequently. So most people, when they say how do I improve my bench press, they only bench once a week, which is too little, to be honest. You want to be benching probably at least 3 times a week if you want to improve that lift itself. But yeah, as I say, most people, when they talk about having a weak bench press, they try do all these other sort of assistance like lifts, whether it be overhead press, incline, dumbbell press, all this stuff. Yes, it builds up other sort of components of the body, but if you really want to do something, if you want to get better at something, you keep doing it. Like, for example, if you want to get better at drawing, what do? You keep drawing, you don't paint. The painting is the assistance to the drawing. Yes, it helps, but actually doing the thing you want to do is the best thing you can do. So yeah, I mean, the first point is obviously doing it more frequently. So number 2 would be to be in a calorific surplus, which means eating more calories than you burn. So yeah, I mean, usually the heavier you are, the more you can bench press. And for me anyway, personally, because I'm cutting at the moment, my bench press has gone down significantly. I can't say the word, significantly. So yeah, I would think my max bench press was 115 for a paused single, somewhere around there. And I reckon now if I tried it, I reckon I'd struggle to hit 100, you know. But yeah, I mean, the main thing is to be in the calorific surplus, because the heavier you are, the more weight you can lift. And that goes for all of the lifts, to be honest. But bench press is probably the most important one to be heavier for. Number 3 would be to get on a strength-based program. So many people don't have a program when they want to get stronger or they want to get bigger. So they're in the gym and they just go around the gym, not really doing anything of importance. They don't have any sort of program. They just do whatever machine's free. This is, well, I wouldn't say, yeah, this is okay for a beginner. But if you're getting into the sort of 6 months into the gym, you'll start losing the sort of newbie gains as they're called, and you want to start actually being on a program. So getting on a strength-based program will obviously increase the strength itself. I'd like to sort of say that a strength-based program isn't always the most beneficial thing in the world, because even though you're gaining strength, the size itself isn't prioritized. So if you want to look at getting completely stronger on the bench press, go for a strength-based program. But if you want to increase strength and increase muscle size, then I'd probably go for a power building program. But yeah, that's another thing. And number 4 would be progressive overload. This also comes underneath the sort of strength-based program, as each week the lifts itself should increase. So let's say you start off with week 1 doing a 5x5, so 5 reps, 5 sets at 75% of your max lift. So when you go to week 2, you'd want to increase that to anything higher than 75. So let's say you do the 75 in week 1, and it's pretty easy. So you go into week 2 and you do it again, you go on to like a 77% of your overall max weight. So yeah, progressive overload is number 4. And then lastly, number 5, don't rush the progress. it takes time. I feel like people want to get results very, very quickly, and there are certain ways to get results very quickly, but they're not legal. Steroids, for example. I say they're not legal, they are legal, but they're not the most safe thing in the world. But yeah, I mean, you can get results quickly using steroids and other certain things, but the whole truth is, if you're natural, then it's going to take time. Realistically, it doesn't matter how long it takes. As long as you keep going, you'll get stronger. It's just how it works. You'll get stronger, you'll get bigger, all of this. As long as you do everything I've said here, your lifts will have a much higher chance of going up. So yeah, that's question 1. Let's move on to question 2. Okay, so question number 2 is how to lose body fat. Now, the main thing really to lose body fat is to be in a deficit. Now, what a deficit is to eat less calories than what you burn. So let's say you burn on a daily average 3,000 calories. You want to eat less than that, so you want to eat 2,800. So to find the perfect deficit for you, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either go onto Google and type in what is my maintenance weight, or what is my cut-in weight, all this stuff, and there's so many websites that come up. Now, they are kind of reliable, but sometimes they do not work. So I find the best way to find a maintenance deficit or surplus weight is to do it yourself. So what I mean by this is, you want to set your calories to a certain amount, let's say 2,800. You then want to track your weight over a sort of week, 2-week period, and then if the weight stays the same every day in the morning, if the weight stays the same, you want to keep at the calories you are, and then if you want to get into the chart, you want to decrease that about 200, 300. Now, if when you're trying to find your maintenance, your weight goes up or down, you want to obviously decrease calories or increase the calories. So yeah, you want to find your perfect maintenance weight, and then you want to drop 200, 300 calories off the maintenance, and then that will be your deficit. So yeah, that is the most important part of losing body fat and weight overall, the calorific deficit. Now, there's so many products out there, whether it be Slimming Tea or any of this bullshit. You want to ignore that. First, be in a deficit. Yeah, unless you're in a deficit, you won't lose weight. So the next point is protein intake. So I have three of the most important points, which is the deficit first, the protein intake, and then resistance training. These are the 3 most important points that I think. So protein intake, you want to be consuming around a pound per pound of body weight. So let's say you weigh 200 pounds, you want to be consuming around 200 grams of protein just to sort of reserve the muscle you have when losing body fat. Now, if you're natural, you will lose some muscle, and that's what you have to know. You won't retain all your muscle unless you're on some sort of performance enhancing drug. So yeah, number 2 is protein intake, a pound per pound of body weight. And then lastly, out of the top 3, resistance training. Now, you want to be training weight training or resistance training. You want to be training a couple times a week. I'd say, it truly depends, but you want to sort of train between 3 to 5 days in a cut, because you don't want to do too much. So yeah, I mean, resistance training, you want to get onto a good sort of program that you keep your weight up, so you keep your lifting weights. Let's say week 1 you're lifting 100 kilos. You want to keep trying to increase that even in the cut, because unless you're pushing yourself, how are you going to keep on to like muscle? So yeah, those are the 3 main points: deficit, protein intake, and resistance training. Now, there are a few little things you can do. So let's say you do all this, you have the deficit, you have the protein intake, and your resistance train. Great. So now to further that, you can track your steps. So on a daily basis, I believe the government recommends to do 10,000 steps a day, which is quite high. This could be true, I could be bullshit, I'm not completely sure, but they recommend to do 10,000 steps a day, but no one really does that. So in a cut, at the moment, I'm on week 8, and I'm on 8,000 steps a day. So let's say you want to do a walk a day. At the start, anyway, a walk a day, which is probably, if you do a half an hour walk, 20 minutes walk, you probably do about 5,000 steps. So if you want to try aim for about 5k steps at the start, but it depends on your job, on your sort of lifestyle, anything. Just sort of track your steps and then slowly increase them when your weight starts to slow. When your weight loss starts to slow. Another thing is daily weigh-ins. So in the morning, every day, it does seem a bit dramatic, but I feel like this is the best way to do it. So daily weigh-ins in the morning, sort of go to the toilet, whatever, then weigh yourself, take that weigh-in, and then over a week period, you want to add them up, divide it by 7, so you're taking an average of the week, and then let's say your average of week 1 is 195 pounds. So you've got that, and then next week, let's say your weight goes to 195 pounds again. So you're thinking, I haven't lost any weight. Okay, so your average has stayed the same. Now, you want to slowly add a sort of 1,000 more steps a day, or you want to slowly decrease the calories, or you can add cardio. The main thing is you don't want to add all this stuff up right at the start, because you will get stuck. You want to slowly implement things that will create more of a deficit. If you add it all at once, then you'll have to keep up doing loads of cardio, loads of steps, eating hardly any food every day. So if you slowly add it in, you'll be all good. So, I mean, that is question number 2. I hope I answered that okay. If you didn't sort of understand any of that, which you might have not done, because sometimes I feel like I chat a load of shit, but I feel like that is the main sort of points. And again, we'll go into question 3. Alright, so question number 3. I'm new to the gym. What should I do / avoid doing? And motivation. So this is quite a big question. New to the gym, so let me put you into my shoes. So when I joined the gym, I believe it was November 2017. So I'm nearly at 2 years of working out. In the next 2 months, in the next couple of months, it'll be 2 years of me going to the gym. So, I mean, the thing is, what I realised is you might sort of look around and think all these people are massive. They seem like really sort of aggressive and stuff like this. I know it sounds stupid, but I feel like a load of people have this. It's like gym nerves. I didn't really have a huge amount of nerves because I knew a load of people in the gym, but still, you sort of felt a bit scared of these people around you. But you soon come to realise that they don't actually care. They don't care. Everyone's there to better themselves. That's the thing. It may sound cliche and all this shit, but generally, they don't care what you're doing. If anything, they're there to help you, realistically. So let's say you're on a machine or whatever. Chances are, if you're new to the gym, you probably won't be doing it right. Ask people, am I doing this okay? Ask the instructors, ask the personal trainers, ask people in the gym, is this okay? Am I doing this right? The thing is, most of the time, they'll be happy enough to tell you what you're doing wrong or what you're doing right. They'll guide you through. They've been there for a while, so they're going to know exactly what you need to do. So that's the one big thing. You need to ask people for help, realistically. Don't just sort of be like, oh, I'm too scared to ask. Just generally ask, and they most of the time will help. So Yeah, I mean that's the main thing. Like I see a lot of people in the gym, beginners, that they don't really know what they're doing. It's completely fine, but no one really asks like, oh, how do I do this? Because I feel like they're scared. But ask someone in the gym, how do I do it? Yeah. So motivation wise, as I say, everyone's there for a reason. They're all there to better themselves, whether it be to get fitter, to gain muscle, anything. Everyone's there to better themselves. Alright, so that was the first episode of the TM Fitness podcast. I think that's what I'm going to call it. I don't really have any good names. If you do have a good name, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll soon sort that out. But I mean, yeah, this is the first podcast, so if it was shit, I do apologise. It probably will get better. Maybe it won't, but who knows. If you do have any questions below, please ask me them and I'll get back to answering them. I'll do all the research and everything, so you know I won't be bullshitting. But yeah, I mean, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment your questions, and then also subscribe for more videos, whether it be podcasts or any sort of other gym videos, gym-based videos. So yeah, I mean, I'll see you later.